Okay, all right, let's go ahead and get started. I just got an email about something that I want to talk about, and it's going to take a second, so I'm going to jump right into this now. The person was asking about the phrase, don't take hope for granted. That's the phrase that was given to me. Don't take hope for granted. I'm going to put it in a larger context just so we can have a better understanding of what's going on. So I'm going to assume, based on who this person is, that we are interpreting, the context is we're interpreting in an educational setting, and somebody is giving an inspirational, encouraging speech. So I made up something. So we have, you have to dream, continue to hope, don't take hope for granted. Okay, that's the context that we're putting it in. Okay, now the person was asking, could you sign this sign for that? She said that's what came to mind, and I felt like, oh, I'm not so sure about it. I think that in that context, signing hope, take advantage of it, I actually think that works. I feel like somebody saying don't take hope for granted is trying to make them understand that hope is something that you should absolutely continue to do. Absolutely hope. Keep hoping. Keep dreaming. Okay? That in mind, although I think that if somebody signed this, the point and the intent would come across, I do feel like taking something for granted is almost like this feeling of like we have it. Well, running water, like, yeah, they don't have running water in Africa, but we've got running, we're good. That's, to me, the feeling of taking something for granted. And so maybe to incorporate that feeling in there a little bit more, you could do something like hope, think nothing, don't, and then maybe even that sign might be a good one in there. So that feeling of like you think it's meaningless, you think it's nothing, do it, something like that. That, which brings me to another point, and that's the two different signs for take advantage of. This sign versus this sign. Okay, I've talked quite a few times about those two signs, and I have been researching the use of this sign, and I'm going to correct myself, or at least add a little bit of a disclaimer. So I've always believed that this sign is that positive use where you're grabbing an opportunity, you're taking advantage of a chance, a job, whatever, you're grabbing something positive. And this sign is used to mean I'm taking advantage of someone. I'm pulling something away from this whoever's over here. I'm taking something in a devious way from them. Those are the two concepts. Those are still both correct. However, I've seen so often, and it's blowing my mind, this sign to mean advantage. So, like for instance, I saw it one time talking about Niall. Do we all know who Niall is now? Okay, talking about Niall DeMarco. He won America's Next Top Model, and now he's on Dancing with the Stars. Adorable model, deaf guy. So Niall, somebody was talking about Niall, and they said he's using his deafness as an advantage, and I was like, okay. Remember I said when you see something, when you see it, you kind of go, okay, let's see if this is a thing. Well, it's a thing. I see it quite a lot. So just know that I don't know if it's a change or if I was never taught this other use of that word, this sign, but I'm definitely seeing it used to mean the word advantage. Use it like in the context of use it to your advantage. Or it's an advantage that whatever. So I wanted just to bring that to your attention. I have on my back burner this plan to because things come up all the time and I go, oh, I'll talk about it and I'll forget. And so I have this plan to do videos only in ASL of just sign things that I see, just little short, here's what I saw, here's what I learned, keep this in mind, those kinds of things. And I was going to do one about that, but I didn't, so figured I'd present it. There's another great sign that I learned recently that I'm going to do a video on eventually. But anyway, questions about that? No. If anybody out there has a favorite YouTube channel, send them my way. I probably have seen it, but I may have not. So please feel free. If you find somebody that you love watching on YouTube, please send me their videos. I'm incredibly picky about the videos that I choose. They have to be a certain length. They have to be a certain signing style, language choice. Oh, it's very, very particular. So I thumb through so many videos, really good ones that I just don't use for various reasons. So please feel free to shoot me over. If I don't use it, it's probably one of those reasons why I didn't use it. But okay. Watching the videos this week that were submitted, I thought everybody did a really good job with this piece, and I was a little bit surprised because right off the bat, I got an email from somebody going, "Oh my God, this one is really, really hard," and I was like, "Oh no!" But actually, I thought the videos that I got were really good. Good message accuracy was pretty spot on for most of the videos. The thing that was lacking in most of them was ASL features. So people weren't role shifting. People weren't using space to their fullest or using space clearly. And so we're going to be talking about that as we go through. All right, here we go. So we are interpreting in a corporate situation, in a business meeting. We have a deaf person that works for this business, and business meetings are my absolute favorite assignment to take, by the way. They're just totally my favorite thing to do. And then we have the boss telling them about this party that's coming up. So here we go. Sentence number 1. Since we have employees from our Washington division, the office is in the Seattle area, they're coming in this week, we've decided to have a fun get-together so everyone can meet. Okay, first chunk. Since we have employees from our Washington division, the offices in the Seattle area coming in this week. Really, that's long, but that's pretty much where your lag time has to be for that first section. Sorry. But that's coming in this week as part of the first chunk of meaning. Okay? So, where do you want to start with this? If we're thinking painting the picture, what's the biggest part of this to set the scene? The location. Yes, I agree, location. So we've got Washington is over there, okay, and we're pointing to the map. If you lived in Oregon, for example, then Washington would be right there for you guys. So it does kind of depend on where you live, okay? For me, it's over there. For most people, it's that way. But for California folks, and so we have Washington, and we're going to set them up. And there are a couple of ways we can kind of go from here. Washington's the big thing. You could go right into Seattle area. You could do that. Offices there, you could set that up that way. However you want to put in this idea that there are Washingtons over there, their offices, Seattle area, all of it works. All of that works, okay? I'm indexing the different offices. That's kind of making that plural. And I'm fingerspelling offices because I don't like to sign office. That's the only reason. You guys sign office. For me, my fingers just don't like to do that. So office, or some people initialize it. It's not necessary. But it is very commonly fingerspelled. Patricia. Question.
Why not put the time first for the first sentence?
You absolutely could. Why didn't I? There was a reason. Because I put it in 2 different chunks. So I set the scene as there are offices in the Washington, Seattle area. That's the first chunk. This week, second chunk, they're coming or they're coming. Okay? So I just set it up in 2 different kind of chunks. 2 different chunks. Good question. You could do it the other way and make it longer. It's just a little bit harder, I think. Okay. Okay, so we have the scene set, the Washington offices, Seattle area, that. This week, they're coming, okay? Second section, we've decided to have a fun get-together so everyone can meet. So what do you think would be a good way, a way, there are several, that we can connect those two thoughts? What transition can we put in there? Anybody? So I'm seeing happen. You can keep throwing them. I see happen. I saw inform you. Inform you. Any other ideas? You haven't gotten to the one that I did yet, but both of those work. I can't see what your hands are doing, Cheryl. They're below. Do. That's what I have. Do. Do. Any other ideas? Event. Event doesn't really transition. It could certainly work in there, but it wouldn't transition in there. But happen would work as a transition. Do would work as a transition, and inform you does work as a transition as well. Okay, so I'm going to do, which means what are we doing? What's going on? What are we doing? And then what are we doing? So we're socializing, we're meeting people. Let's though do socializing, meeting people. The bigger idea is missing. Meaning basically what that actually says, oh, this is a really good point. If we signed it like that, that's the boss telling the employees, guys, when they're here, make sure you socialize with them and meet everybody. See the difference? We don't have the event in there just yet. Sorry to pick on you, but that was a really, really good thing to bring up. Yeah. So how can we may choose to actually keep those two signs as part of the interpretation. I have them actually glossed in mine. But how can we, before that, make it clear that we have a separate event going on? So I'm seeing do and then actually office event, so blatantly saying it. That would work. Any other ideas? Fun event. This sign actually covers it. Do this, or even better, is do we hosted a get-together. So that makes it clear that there's something specific going on. So hosting a get-together, you could do, like you guys said, a lot of people like to event, so event absolutely works. Host event, get-together, social. All of those make it clear that there's actually a separate special thing going on. And so just to complete that, we have, I'll do host event since most people there, so most of you wanted to do that. Do host event, get together, socialize, meet. Okay? Fun also works if you wanted to add that in there. To be completely honest, after I glossed this, I did it with the stimulus, and it's tight. There's some expansions in there that make it a little bit tight, a little fast. So feel free to pick and choose what you use. You know, we just expanded on this idea of get together, and we did like 4 or 5 signs. Not necessary. You could say host event, fun, done, or host, done. Okay, so you don't have to expand to the extent that we discuss in the webinars. When you are picking and choosing, challenge yourself, please. This is all practice. Challenge yourself, but in the end, feel free to make an interpretation that you feel comfortable with. Okay, next one. So I'm excited to announce that we'll be closing the office early this Wednesday at 3:30. That's actually a good first chunk. So I'm excited to announce that we'll be closing the office early this Wednesday at 3:30. Okay? What would be a good way to introduce that sentence? And we see this very often in these videos that we watch, or variations of this in the videos that we watch. So I'm seeing thrilled to let you know. I saw this could be even before that. You could add that in, like thrilled let you know. That absolutely would work. What did I miss? Did somebody throw something at me that I didn't sign? Patricia, I like where you're thinking, but I see that you kind of went, no, that doesn't work there. You did one, and the one thing, which I'm glad that you're playing with, is for when there's a standout, when there's something that stands out about a situation. And in fact, deaf people will often sign one without even this. Like, I think people are looking at me like, what are you talking about, Nicole? Okay, so if this said, we're hosting a fun event. Oh.
Nicole,
Yes.
is it something within the event, like the beer and the wine? So like one, we're serving beer and wine kind of thing?
If it was presented that way, and you know now that I'm thinking about it, this one is presented that way. The positive thing that's going on, like one big about this is that we get to close early. So that actually, Patricia, might work for that. See what I mean? Like, that's a big deal for people who are working. You get to close the office an hour and a half early. So you might be able to do, yeah, that works. That works. Nice. Yeah, it totally works. So that is used a lot, and it's also used negatively. Like if he was saying, we have this event, but the downside is you have to actually stay until 8 o'clock that day, then it could be one negative. This Wednesday, you're stuck here until 8. So that's how those are both used. Anyway, thanks for bringing that up. So I'm going to start this off with me thrilled to inform you. Thrilled, inform you. You don't need the me at all. So thrill, inform you. And we already signed this Wednesday, 3:30 close. Okay. And I'm signing this because we're here. We're in the office right now. We're all there. Okay. And that's really relevant, especially coming up soon, because I've noticed several people making the same error, so we're going to discuss that in more depth in a second. And so if you choose to add in that it's early and that's a great thing, you don't have to, especially if you interpreted up until that point appropriately. You know, thrilled to inform you, we know that that's a good thing, right? This Wednesday, 3:30, close. It's very clear that it's a positive thing and everybody's going to be very happy about it. Okay, next section, and we'll meet at Brick Oven Pizza right over there on the intersection of 60 and Oak at 4 p.m. for the party. Okay, so what's the topic of this chunk? The party, what specifically about the party is the topic of this chunk? Specifically about the party, where, the location of it. Yes, the location of it. So recognizing that, okay, now we're talking about the location of it, we want to take that topic and figure out how to move it forward in our interpretation, okay? So where it is the Brick Oven Pizza, and it might be a good idea to let us know that it's a restaurant first, That's a common thing to kind of give us a heads up of what you're about to spell. So we're not looking for a name, who's Brick, I'm not sure who that is, that kind of thing. So restaurant, index, now we've set this up. Restaurant, and then we have the name, Brick. Oven, there's those E's again. Oven, pizza, everybody does your Z's. So restaurant, Brick, oven, pizza, okay? And then she continues talking about this pizza place. So she now gives specific directions. So how can we transition into that? It could be where with a rhetorical question. It could be no street 60 Oak, that area. It could be done like that. Okay. Something like that. Okay, so we have restaurant, index. The index is important. Brick, oven, pizza. Street, 60, Oak, that area. Okay, and then she says, we're meeting there at 4 p.m. for the party. Okay, so we're meeting there. Okay, getting together. And actually, we should do time first. Why not, right? Chunk. So 4 eyebrows up at 4 o'clock, meet there. Done. And now that the whole party and everything is happening right here in my space, nice and clean. Everything having to do with the party is going to be happening right over here. I have the Washington people coming in. They're over here. Washington, the party's here. Okay. Now we want the Washington folks to feel welcome, so you are expected to be there and stay until at least normal closing time, 5 o'clock. Okay, so yeah, the concept of the Washington folks feeling welcome. I do believe a lot of people went with welcome. And I do believe that if we were interpreting for a monolingual deaf person, they would have a hard time really understanding the intent of the speaker. Monolingual meaning they're not fluent in English, they're just fluent in ASL, okay? And some of our deaf consumers don't know English. So when we do things like that, it can really skew the interpretation. I want to make a quick note about something really quickly. So, how can let's see if we can depict what it looks like to feel welcome. And it's interesting that several people actually did do a depiction for this, and I saw 2 different perspectives, and any perspective that you depict works. I mean, as long as it works, it can be done. It can be done. So when you think about that sentence and you're depicting it in your mind, who's thinking of it as showing what the Washington folks would feel like to feel welcome? Does that sentence make any sense? Showing what they would feel like. Second option is showing what we would do to make them feel welcome. See the 2 sides? And it could be done either way. Who's leaning toward showing what it feels like to feel welcome? None. Really? Interesting. So everybody's thinking of it as showing what you do to make someone feel welcome. Goodness, that's interesting. All right, I'm going to just delete my gloss here. Okay, so we have. So how do you want to start that? You're talking about them. So in mine, I'm talking about the Washington group, and I start mine off with the Washington group should. right? I'm going to show what they look like. You guys are talking about what you guys should. So you guys should
I think in my video I did like you guys should, welcome, 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 and then they feel, kind of like warm. They feel happy about it.
and you can absolutely do two sides, and that's a good choice actually. So the only thing that I would change about that is I don't think if I were at a party, I wouldn't make someone feel welcome by saying welcome, welcome, welcome. I would make someone feel welcome by hi, oh, nice to meet you, that kind of thing, or just chatting like hi, chat, that kind of thing. So that's the only difference that I would do from that. But I actually do like the both sides, the both of them. It's good call. So we have you guys should friendly. Okay, that could be that making them feel welcome thing. And the feeling welcome could be this, it could be this, it could be this, it could be lots of different, whatever you think of. Comfortable, yeah, comfortable, comfortable, yeah, absolutely. Okay, next chunk. So you are expected to be there and stay until at least normal closing time, 5 o'clock. So this chunk caused some, a little bit of headache, I think, with the group. Okay, so we have a couple of ideas in here. The first idea is you need to come, and you need to come first of all. And the reason why I wrote that is my first thought when I worked. I mean, it's been so long since I've worked for a company, but if they let us off for a party, a work party at 3:30, there's no way I would go. I'd be like, yeah, I'll see you there, and then I'm like home. I mean, obviously, right? Is that what we all do? No? Okay, that's why I work independently. So, so they're saying you have to be there. Don't just think this is a free afternoon off. So that's one idea, is that that we have to interpret is you have to be there. The second idea is that not only do you have to be there, but you have to be there until 5, which is the time that we close here. That we close. Keep that in mind. We close at 5 every day. Okay? So those are the two thoughts that we have to get out. So the first thought is this idea of you are expected to be there, and well, you are expected. What about just that? You are expected to be there. What can we do with that? Cheryl, I see you trying to sign every single time. I don't want you to think that I'm ignoring you. Do you sign show up as well? Must show up. Okay, show up must. Yep. So, or required. So you show up must. That works. You or show up required. That absolutely works as well. I think that to really get that, emphasize that feeling of like, no, this isn't work is done at 3:30 this day, is to maybe do a negation, showing what they shouldn't do, like that, okay, or home, maybe, yep, go home, don't. Okay, some kind of really quick negation to make it clear that you want that person to go, oh, what I was thinking, I can't, okay, I gotcha. Okay, that kind of thing. So that would look like maybe I'm trying to incorporate what you guys did plus what I have here. So maybe something like, okay, so just that I'm saying negation, but it's a contrast, not a negation. I'm using the wrong term. Okay, so that's the idea that you have to be here. Okay, so then we have that you also need to be here until the time that our office normally closes. My feeling is to sort of, you have them showing up. So we have show up, must. And now that they're there, I want to continue painting the scene a little bit. And so we have this idea that now they're there, and this is what's kind of going on. This to me is I see a party when I use this sign. Just a lot of people moving around. So that's what's going on. So show up, must, right? Okay, and then we have here or here, 10 close at 5. Okay, so we're making that clear. That's the same. And I'm going to continue showing it. I'm going to continue showing it. So that means that, okay, so that's what that would look like. Okay, and then again, because this is important, the boss is making it clear that they need to be here until 5. So maybe another contrast: before, don't, or before, don't. Again, contrasting. So those kinds of expansions are done when you want to make the point crystal clear. And in work situations where the deaf consumer's employment has, they could be punished or whatever because of the decisions that they make on this day, it's really important that they leave fully understanding the intent of their boss that's speaking. Okay, so, well, that's the whole thing. So we have, putting that all together, looks like this. Let me just scoot this over a little bit. Looks like this. I'll do the whole sentence, I guess. I have to remember the change I made. Okay, so we have something like that. I added a little bit in the middle that I didn't need. The understand part, you don't need to have that in there. But anyway, something like that. Questions? Okay, let's keep going. But we have a private room until 7, so your spouses are welcome to join us and hang out for a while. But we have a private room until 7. How do I feel like I missed something? No. In order to encourage you to always be thinking about meaning, I want to be clear that this sign, truly the concept of this sign is this, okay? So whether that means it's a secret, or it's private, or even your password, your secret, don't tell anybody it's your password, whereas we use these terms all the time, private room, but there's nothing private about it. There's windows, or windows are going to be open. So what really is this room? Throw me some signs. Describe this room. It's, okay, so maybe it is just we booked a room, okay. If you needed to explain that room, how could you maybe, more simple than that, Patricia. You're kind of explaining what people have to do to get into the room, or it's I just did what I, or it's so just, it could be our own room, yep, like our room, our own room, or it could even be, if we did book room, it could be like, it looks like we have the whole restaurant or something like that. So how can we make it clear that we don't have the whole restaurant, we just have I'm trying to avoid saying the word, I just signed it. What kind of room do we have? A separate room, absolutely, have a separate room. We have a separate room. Our own room works fine, or both of those signs work fine, but I just kind of want you to, there's a couple of different ways you could approach it. So we have, I'm going to use understand as a transition because we just said you have to stay there till 5 with the understanding that, own separate room booked until 7. Okay, the idea is the topic is the private room, okay, the private room. And so that's what I'm bringing forward, transition, and then the concept of the private room. So separate room, we'll just leave it at that even. Separate room booked. We have possession of it. Until 7. This sign until is not the same sign as up until now. So up until now is a past sign. It's everything that's happened until this moment. And until is a forward sign because we have the room until in the future 7 o'clock. You got here at 4. Oh, we have the room until, and it's in the future 7. So until is a forward future sign, and then up until now is a past sign. And they're also signed quite a bit differently. Until, up until now. Up until now. Okay? Okay, so we have the room until 7. So your spouses, this is the next chunk, so your spouses are welcome to join us and hang out for a while. Okay? In the simplest terms, what is the boss saying right now? What's the easiest way we can say this? Exactly. Your husband, wife, come, can. Yes. Yeah. Even, you could probably just even end it at come. Done. Okay? Next one. Does anybody think we shortened that too much? Like we left something out, it's not, we shortened it too much and we've now skewed the message? Joan? You thinking about it? You're like, maybe. So I'll read it again. Let's double check. The second chunk is, so your spouses are welcome to join us and hang out for a while. So the part that we completely said, you know what, we don't need you, is and hang out for a while. And so the question is, if getting rid of that section affected the message. Patricia?
I don't think so, because in the beginning you say that it closes at 7, so it's implied kind of that, okay, you can stay until that time. And I mean, you're not going to send your spouse home and you stay. Like, I think it's implied that you're just going to stay together until that time.
Yeah, I mean, what I always think of, what I always do when I am trying to figure out message equivalence is the deaf person getting this message, are they going to misunderstand what's going on? Are they going to get that, what I just signed, and that, and then understand it differently than what this person intended? And I think in that case, no, but this is not a black and white field, as we all know. And so, Joan, do you have a different perspective? No? Okay. You're always welcome to challenge me. And a lot of times I go, oh, yeah, you're right. So always welcome to challenge anything. Okay. Next sentence. Okay. Dan and Pat will be heading down there early to get everything set up, so just be there. So, who or what are we talking about? Yep, Dan, Pat. We don't need the sign and an ASL at all, so we just have Dan, Pat, and we're going to put them somewhere. So the two of them, and then what are they doing? So the two of them are going and what? They're going and they're setting up and it'll be ready, okay? And this sign ready is one of the things we borrowed from the inspiration video. So ready is often in ASL used to convey the idea that good to go, everything's all set, In the inspiration video, he used it to mean that on the web page, everything was right there. Everything's right there for you. Everything's all set there. I just go pull it up, and it's all right there. So those two of them are going to go, and they're going to get everything ready. Okay. So you guys just go, and that's all. That's all you have to do. Or you guys show up. That's all. You could do like that too. Okay. That's all. And this is the sign for that's all. That's all. Different than finish. Finish. That's all. That's all you gotta do. Just show up. That's all. Light wiggle. Okay. We will be providing beer and wine for the group, but please, please, please be responsible. So when I wrote this, I was only thinking about drunk driving. I was not, and everybody who interpreted this thought of it as don't act a fool in the middle of a company event. Okay, so I thought that was really, really interesting and fine. So we'll take a look at both perspectives. The first one is, okay, so we'll be providing beer and wine for the group. That's the first chunk. What are we talking about? Topic? Beer and wine, that's what we're talking about. That's first. Alcohol is more general. If somebody loves their margaritas, they're not gonna be able to get it there. So that's the only way that's gonna be that's gonna lead somebody in the wrong path. So beer and wine, and then how do you want to say that we are providing them for you? Oh, pay for? Okay, beer. Wine, we paid for. Okay, that works. Yeah, I actually considered that today. Beer, wine, we'll pay for. Okay. Any other ideas? Free. Beer and wine are free. It wouldn't skew the message. They're going to get an understanding of what's going on. I think pay for conveys it a little bit clearer than free. Any other ideas? I played with this a few different ways myself. I ended up with included, beer, wine included. Okay. And I was also just thinking about just having them there, but because they might have to pay for them themselves if it's theirs. So beer, wine included is what I ended up with. I have to be honest, I wasn't even that thrilled with that, but that was the best I had. Okay, so the concept of please be responsible. We have the two different views. So I'm going to talk about what it seems like everybody thought it was or understood, which means that clearly I'm the one that's on the wrong here. Boss means don't drink too much, don't get drunk, don't act silly, behave yourself. That's the concept that most people interpreted. And so how do we want to do that? There are a million ways. Throw some out. Don't get crazy, don't drink too much, don't behave yourself. Okay, so we say drunk, don't, okay. That works. Drunk, don't. This is what I saw. Something like that. You were saying make? Oh, okay, so drink, or drink, don't. Yeah, that works. Were you signing something, Patricia? Or just scratching your nose? Never mind. And then I saw people also add things like behave appropriately, which is fine. All of those things are fine if your understanding of her message was don't overdo it, and that's silly. Okay, and then what I thought of just would be signed drink, 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 just like that. Drunk drive. Anytime you're showing a negative action, the non-manual should be there. A negative action, is that the right way to put that? Like a behavior that you're discouraging, or the wrong behavior, the wrong behavior. So don't. Yes. Okay. Then she says, I don't want to have to say 3 drink max since we're all adults, but so I wrote this to kind of, and I don't think it came through the way my intonation in the audio ended up being, but I kind of was trying to say, you know, I don't want to say this, but this is how it is. Kind of, I don't want to have to say 3 drink max since we're all adults, but kind of like that's the guideline that you should kind of use, kind of thing. I'm not sure if my tone came across. Nobody really interpreted it like that, and which is fine again. But I just wanted to make that clear. And I was kind of trying to make the point of a lot of times we say things with our tone that are pretty clear, even though not so much in this sense, but we often do, and it's important that if somebody makes it adds meaning with their tone, that meaning should be conveyed a lot more explicitly in ASL. I'll try to do a better example in a future week. So a lot of people chose to role shift this sentence, which I think is a really, really good choice. So that would look something like or even just, you can start out with the role shift, actually. You could say, me, strict. You could do that and then end it with, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Okay? Preach is a really good sign, yeah, for that. This is another one I saw somebody use, like, don't do any more than that. So me, okay, that works nicely too. All of those work. And then we have this idea of since we're all adults. So if you chose to use the sign adult, this is the more ASL sign to sign, adult rather than the C sign, adult. So if you wanted to use that, that would be the more appropriate sign. I feel like when we say, you know, we're all adults, we kind of mean like, you know that, like, you know what you should do, you know, that kind of thing. And with the right non-manual, I think that matches, okay? So that might be the way you end that. So that whole sentence would look like this. That kind of thing, okay? Next sentence. And the Washington group won't have vehicles, so they can let loose a bit more. And that's kind of where I was thinking the drunk driving thing, because they're saying the Washington group can kind of like party hard, but these guys who they're driving around, then anyway, it doesn't matter. Train gone. Okay. So who or what are we talking about? What's the topic? Yeah, we're talking about the Washington group. Washington group, and I'm going to keep them in the same side that they've been in. Okay. What are we saying about them? Yep, cars, none, or drive, not, or drive, none. Any of those work? Yep. So the Washington group, car, none. Okay, and that's just, that is as clear-cut topic content as we can get. No deep meaning there. They don't have any cars. Okay. And the second chunk is so they can let loose a bit more. They can let loose a bit more. And there are a lot of different ways you could approach that, like, you know, drink more can or drink more. I have like that. Okay, something like that. Can, enjoy, drink. And again, your non-manuals are absolutely a part of the message. So what you do when you sign this is everything. So if you do compare to, that's you know how we all learn cha, right? Mouth open is a lot. So we have which is average. So can, yep, the M's. Okay. And then she says, oh, that reminds me, I will be picking up some of them from their hotel that day and driving them there, but I only have room for 4. Okay, so oh, that reminds me is just a gesture, just oh, you know, or you could do this if you wanted to make it more you know, but you don't need it. So that could work, or just, oh, just showing it clearly. So that's, oh, that reminds me, I will be picking up some of them from their hotel that day and driving them there. Okay. I went with, again, showing what that whole thing looks like. So I'm going to kind of just talk through what I have. I'm putting the time first, so that day, or you could do Wednesday, since we know what day it is. Me, drive to their hotel, and really I could drive over here. I'm going to drive it this way. So Wednesday, me drive to their hotel, okay? Then I'm going to say, notice I said there because the Washington group's been there consistently the whole time. Come on, get in my car, okay? So I drove to their hotel, come on, get in, and I'm going to drive to the party. Okay, so that's where I'm showing that I'm picking them up and taking them there. And the second chunk is, but I only have room for 4. I'm going to use understand again to transition. So how do you guys think we should do the only have room for 4? How do we show that or find that? Only have room for 4. Up, did I see you do up to 4? Seat up to 4, absolutely. Yep. Yep, that's all. That works too. Yep, seats up to, so my car, seats up to 4. Yeah, exactly. And my tendency would be to do even to show kind of like I went and picked them up, but still left. Like I got 4, but still left. Up to 4, that feeling of there's still people there needing to be picked up. So I'll show you what that looks like in the interpretation. It would be, oh, I ended up deleting that in the last second. I deleted it because I went through to the stimulus and signed it a few times, and I was like, let me take out some stuff, and I took that out. But my gut still does say that I would probably naturally do that. So I'll do the whole sentence. So we have, oh, that reminds me is how it starts. So, okay, so we'll just do it like that. Last sentence. I'm rushing through because I've been a little bit long-winded today. Can someone who has an SUV volunteer to chauffeur the rest of them? Can someone who has an SUV volunteer to chauffeur the rest of them? And by chauffeur, specifically, she means what? Specifically just to the party, not just while they're in town. You don't get that feeling. I saw somebody interpret it like that way, and I wasn't sure if it wasn't clear. But everybody, you all think that she means drive to the party. Okay. Okay, so we have, can somebody who has an SUV, where would you start with that interpretation? Can someone who has an SUV, how does she introduce this? How is she, oh, don't mind that, that works. Who is she talking to? Yep, exactly. So you guys, yep, I like don't mind. I want to figure out, you guys, she's talking to who specifically? Yes, you guys have SUV. Yes, she's just talking to them. Yes, good. You guys have SUV, and this is where we can put don't mind in there. Don't mind, volunteer, drive, or pick up, drive them. Yes, pick up, drive them. Absolutely. So I would probably do drive first. Volunteer, drive, take them. Yeah, just so it's more clear. So I was impressed that I only saw one person do wiggle finger at the end. I have a webinar about wiggle fingers, but if your tendency is to ask questions and then add the wiggle finger at the end, send me an email, and I have a whole webinar explaining what wiggle finger means and when it should be used. It has its own meaning, and it doesn't mean asking a question. So just want to throw that out there for you guys. There's a great, I was going to also talk about the concepts of heavy traffic and light traffic only because on Facebook today, somebody posted, a deaf teacher posted a great video about just talking about something that happened in her classroom, and it was just great, and I posted it on my ASL Mentor Facebook page, so those of you that are already, you probably saw it already, I don't know, but look there if you haven't seen it yet, and if you're not on my Facebook page, you should get there. I throw stuff up there all the time. Heavy traffic versus light traffic. Really quickly, I'm just want to just make this one point, is she was trying to see if these 7-year-olds could understand the concept of heavy traffic versus light traffic, and she signed heavy traffic, and she's like, so what does that mean, heavy traffic? What does that mean? And one of the kids raised his hand and said, it means that something like means cars, heavy, meaning that the actual road collapsed. Heavy traffic, meaning the actual weight of the heavy, of the weight of it collapsed the road. And I thought, my goodness, like that is a beautiful example of how the decisions that we make, I mean, this is a 7-year-old, so his knowledge of English isn't up to what an adult would be, obviously. But even still, if we have somebody who's a monolingual ASL user, it's possible that they're not exposed to that phrase that we use, heavy traffic. And so following the English and choosing that sign could create this whole visual of a bridge collapsing or something like that for a deaf person. So just wanted to throw that out there for you guys. Have an awesome week, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.